SSLD is about learning to change lives. And what it does is to enable people to find or build or implement solutions to the challenges that they face in life. SSLD can be summarized in a simple formula: N3C, 6D, and HT. Here, we are suggesting that the N3C and the 6Ds should be combined in an interactive manner to generate solutions, right? As we mentioned in the earlier slide, right? Those solutions will be actionable solutions, concrete specific action that we can take to bring about changes in our lives. N3C, you'll see later what it is, like in more detail. It refers to needs, circumstances, characteristics, and capacity. The 6D would refer to the six domains, and then we will explain to you what they are in a subsequent slide. And HT refers to the holistic or transcendental perspective. And some people believe that life is more than, just like the physical, psychological, and social. And some people believe that life is better understood when you have like a holistic or transcendental perspective. So let's start with the N3C. This is a matrix for us to map out the needs, circumstances, characteristics, and capacity. Each of these aspects can be further analyzed into the physical, the psychological, and the social. So we can be talking about like a person's physical needs. We can be talking about a person's psychological characteristics. We can be talking about a person's social capacity. And we can also be talking about a person's like psychological circumstances. So you can use this, right, as a simple matrix to map out what your N3Cs might be. We have put in an additional column here, referring to it as the spiritual, and we are aware that a lot of people think that they can have like an adequate understanding of their lives just by using the physical, psychological, and social dimensions. But to some people, the spiritual dimension is important, and they think of their lives uh, in a spiritual language, and they use spiritual concepts to make sense of what is happening. In our analysis, you can actually be talking about someone with spiritual needs. You can also be talking or describing a person's spiritual set of circumstances. You can also be describing a person's spiritual characteristics. You may even be talking about whether that person has spiritual capacity, and you can also be comparing the spiritual capacity of one person with that of another. So that is like an additional spiritual uh, dimension for people who find this relevant and helpful. And for those people who are okay with just like dealing with like physical, psychological, and social, you can also choose to do that. The 6D refers to actually the six key dimensions of our life world. In the SSLD model, we believe that everything that you experience and everything that you do can be analyzed according to the six domains. And later on, we'll show you specifically how, when we're dealing with specific challenges or specific issues, and what you do to deal with them, right? You can be thinking about dealing with, like, say, separation and divorce. You can be talking about dealing with loss. You can be talking about someone who has a major health issue. You can be talking about someone experiencing financial difficulty, or someone who is experiencing, say, political oppression. Any of these conditions or these challenges can be further analyzed according to the 6 domains. And the solutions that we find to deal with those challenges, again, can also be articulated in the 6 domains. So we can be looking at the environment, which you see is on the right-hand side of this diagram. And we are constantly in an environment, and we are also constantly interacting with the environment. The environment obviously will influence our experience and what we do and what we are able or not able to do. But at the same time, we are also actively shaping the environment that we find ourselves in. So there is like a mutual process of influence and conditioning between us and the environment. And then the other 5 dimensions are the body, the cognition, right? How we process information, how we think. It also includes our belief systems, our values. We talk about motivation, which is understood in terms of needs, wants, and drive. And our emotional experience, as you can see, we actually put it at almost at the center, right, of human experience. And it is actually quite central to all that we do, all that we experience. And then finally, we talk about behavior. Behavior is like the things that we actually do. Right? It includes what we say and what we do, right? Our reactions, our responses, and all that. So that is the 6D. So the HT refers to either a holistic or a transcendental perspective. Some people think that like an analytic frame is important, but to a lot of people, we believe that we have to sometimes consider uh, our being in the world or our life world in a holistic manner, and we do not only separate them or analyze them into its constitutive parts like in the N3C and the 6D analysis. Sometimes it is also helpful to have a holistic description or articulation. And for some people, our existence, our action, our thoughts and behavior and all that can sometimes take on significance or meaning that is bigger than or above and beyond who we are and our own personal needs and wellness. The extreme example would be individuals who are happy to sacrifice their own lives for a bigger cause. And that cause can be a religious one, it can be an ethical one, it can be a political one, or even an aesthetic or artistic one. So to some people, their own needs and their own subjective experience is all they care about. But there are also other people who seek a transcendental realm of meaning and significance. So in the SSLD model, we utilize these concepts to respond to the individual's set of circumstances, and each individual can choose how these different dimensions should be integrated in their lives. Then we do not make any assumption regarding what is important to you. You decide what is important and relevant to yourself. And you can decide that like certain aspects are more important than others, or certain dimensions are more important than others. Some dimensions are not even relevant. That is all up to you. So now I'm bringing you back to this formula. SSLD equals N3C times 6D plus HT. And the HT, as suggested, can be an optional addition to our analysis.